Over the past 4 weeks, I've been teaching you a system. The 3 I's: information, interaction, intimacy. A framework designed to bring structure to something that so many of you approach with nothing but emotion and hope. And I believe in it. Hell, I built it. So you have to know that I stand on every word that I've given you over the past 4 episodes. But tonight I have to be honest with you because tonight's episode is not just a summary. So if you came here only looking for a recap and only looking for me to send you off into the sunset on a high motivational note, then you're in the wrong place. Because on tonight, I'm going to do something different. Yeah. Of course, I'm going to summarize the 3 I's again, but I'm going to tell you what the 3 I's cannot do. And more importantly, why? Because one thing I learned about you and I, individuals, people, is even with the right framework in hand, we can fail. And it won't be because the system is broken. It'll be because of the person that's operating it. Hello, and welcome to another episode of This Could Get Ugly featuring Sean D. Upshaw. Of course, I am him. I want to thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you as always. And you are in for a very epic episode on tonight because I really just, I'm excited because we have reached a plateau, right? On this particular topic of dating. So I need you to listen up because I'm going to get deep on a particular subject concerning this dating arc as we close on it tonight. Just for now, because we're going to talk about dating throughout the podcast, but just tonight on this specific this specific arc, we're going to close it for now. Glad you're tuning in as always. So let's get into it. Let's sharpen these 3 I's. Let me tell you what I've been talking about, right? Before we get into the hard part, I want to tell you what I've been thinking that I've been doing concerning these 3 I's. I want to summarize them for you again, for those who haven't been around and for those who been around but need a reminder, right? Let's start with the first one, information. When I introduced information in the first episode, leading into the second episode, I talked about controlled questions. I talked about watching for red flags. I talked about protecting yourself from being leveraged. Listen, none of that changes. None of that changes, right? It all still stands. But here's what I need to add to that particular I. Information was never meant to be a defensive position. It's actually a position of discipline neutrality. Now, I know, I know what some of you are thinking, like, this fool and picked up a dictionary or read a book and learned a new word. No, that's not what I've done. It's what it is. I try to switch it up. Information is a position of discipline neutrality. So what that means is simple, right? When someone gives you charm, when someone gives you chemistry, compliments, physical attention, vulnerability, share interests, right? All the things that make it feel like a connection. Your stance, your position should be, that's nice, but none of it gets advancement. That should be your position. Most people don't get manipulated by red flags. I think I've told you this, so let me repeat it. Most people don't get manipulated by red flags. What happens is they get manipulated by green flags that haven't been verified yet. That's right. Most people don't get manipulated by red flags. They get manipulated by green flags that haven't been verified. Someone shows up consistently for a week or two or three. One thing you fail to realize is all they're doing is matching your energy. They are a mirror. They say things that you've been wanting to hear, things you've been telling yourself, and you start to feel all, ooh, this person is really touching my soul. That's not what happened. That's not what's happening, ladies and gentlemen. The problem is that's showing evidence, but it's not showing evidence of character, which is what this whole information phase is supposed to reveal. It's actually showing evidence of effort. And the key thing about effort is it can be very strategic. Trust me. Let me be the first to tell you. Effort can be strategic. But see, character is what remains when you can't hold the act any longer. And here's the part that most people miss. The most dangerous form of surface inflation isn't material, right? It's emotional. It's premature vulnerability. It's someone telling you their trauma on date 3. Yeah, just spilling the whole beans. It gives you a false sense of intimacy, right? It's actually love bombing disguised as depth. It's like this person really sees me. That's what you be telling yourself. But the reality of it is they don't see a damn thing. The person that's giving a performance is just giving a performance of closeness before closeness has been earned. Information is where you learn to tell the difference, which is why you need to be paying attention in this phase. Surface inflation isn't just someone bragging about what they have. It's someone actually fast tracking how they make you feel. Now, I know you're probably sitting here like, this fool giving us the problems. He's giving us all the problems. So where's the solution? Glad you asked. Great thought. Here's the bridge, right? I need to tell you what actually earns advancement from information to interaction. It's actually some questions that's centered around team building. Why team building? Because I'm here to tell you that everything past dating, the next level past dating, it all involves teamwork. That's exactly what it's about. That's exactly what it's about. It's not about attraction. It's not about how someone makes you feel on a random Saturday night. It's teamwork, the ability to share a vision, right? To divide responsibility, handle conflict without casualties. How many of us have handled conflict and left casualties on the battlefield? Terrible. That's not what it's about. When you're in the information stage, I'm going to tell you what you should be listening to. I'm going to give you insight into what Sean D. Upshaw be doing in the information stage. So y'all be listening for how someone talks about partnership, how they describe roles, how they handle disagreement in theory, what they believe about compromise, because that's important. So God didn't give me these big ears for a reason. I definitely be listening, but more importantly, I be cataloging. Which is something you should be doing, right? Because everything they tell you in information phase is about to be tested in the next phase of interaction. All the answers can't be faked. That's going to be revealing when you reach the interaction phase. Because the interaction phase is the proving ground, right? The interaction is where the information meets reality. This is the stage where I put a person in a setting that demands the exact skills that they told me that they possessed. I've talked in the previous episode about intentional date settings, right? Not just your typical dinner and a movie. I'm talking about environments that require collaboration, problem solving, navigating discomfort together. Because like I always say, you never know a person until they're under pressure. That's interaction, ladies and gentlemen. You need to know how they handle the unexpected, because those settings expose what someone is actually made of when the script rehearsed doesn't apply, excuse me. But there's something I need to add here because I didn't emphasize it, or I feel I didn't emphasize it enough when we talked about interaction. Interaction isn't just one test. I hope you realize that. I hope you don't think that you can just get a bunch of information, test them once, and that's what it's all about. No, it's not about that. It's actually a pattern. One high performance in one situation is just a snapshot. Anybody can do it. Anybody can perform a single uncomfortable moment if they're disciplined enough, right? I mean, we're grown. We should know this, right? What you need to do is, or what you're watching for rather, is consistency. That's a key word when in the interaction phase of what you want to listen for, or look for rather, because you already listened in the information phase. What you want to look for now is consistency. Does this person show the same character in the third pressure test that they showed in the first? Are they as disciplined? Are they as disciplined when, they can't follow script? That's what you want to pay attention to. So here's what to specifically look for, right? I've written down three things or three questions that you look for. So let me look right here towards my notes. And I want you guys to write these down because I'm going to be honest with you. They're non-negotiable. So when you're talking to a person and you get through the information phase and they're lucky enough to pass to the interaction phase, these are the three things or three questions that you need to be asking yourself. They should be written down. They should be memorized. Just being honest. First one is, how did this person handle inconvenience that benefits you but costs them nothing meaningfully? How does this person handle inconvenience that benefits you but costs them nothing meaningful? That's a small test, but it reveals selfishness immediately. If someone resists minor inconvenience for your benefit, they will absolutely collapse under a real sacrifice. If you don't believe me, watch for it. The second one is, how does this person communicate when they disagree with you and there's no audience? Not in public, not on social media, not in front of friends, privately. One-on-one. Do they get dismissive, defensive, or do they need a win? How many of us just wanted to argue just to get a win? I'll raise my hand. I've been there. I've done that. But we matured, right? Or are they looking for a resolution? The main important thing when this is happening. That tells you everything you want to know about a person. And also tells you, will they be your teammate behind closed doors? Something you need to know. Question 3. I hope you guys are writing this down because this is very, very important, right? Question 3. How does this person respond when you succeed at something they are struggling with? Now, I talked about this in a previous episode. How a person celebrates you. Very important, extremely important to pay attention to. Genuine teammates elevate. They celebrate your wins as if it's theirs, because it is. That's how a genuine teammate responds to this. Competitors disguised as partners will minimize, redirect, and suddenly make your success feel like their shortcomings. I've seen it happen. I'm sure you've seen it happen. You just have to be real about it. You need to pay attention. Remember, I said effort can be strategic. Character is what remains when the strategy stops working. Effort can be strategic. Character is what remains when the strategy stops working. Now let's head to this final eye. As you know, the last one, my favorite, intimacy. Intimacy, the reward that requires maintenance. If someone passes through information and interaction with consistency, the reward simply is intimacy. And I use the word reward intentionally because it's not given, it's earned. It's not assumed, it's earned through evidence and time. That's the simple way I can explain that. Because as you already know, intimacy is closeness. People have to earn the right to be close to you. You need to know that. It needs to be here. It needs to be here. Well, it needs to rest here. It needs to be here. So when it comes out here, you already know what time it is. Intimacy requires, well, let me back up. Intimacy is what trust is built on, right? We all know this. I explained this in the last episode. But trust built on what? That's the question. It's the question that matters because most people enter intimacy without defining it. Is that you? It's been me before, which is why I'm telling you, most people enter intimacy without clearly defining it. So how about we define it now? How about I take the opportunity to tell you what it is? Intimacy requires vulnerability. I told you that. It requires, vulnerability without punishment. It requires financial transparency. Whoo, boy. I don't think y'all ready to have this conversation. It requires financial transparency. It requires physical connection rooted in emotional safety. It requires the ability to be fully known, including the parts of yourself that you're not proud of. How many of you people can be that intimate with someone where you expose the parts of you, that you're not proud of? That's true. That's a true form of intimacy right there. But the killer part is you have to trust that it won't be weaponized against you later. It's of my belief that most relationships don't fail during the dating phase. No, it actually failed inside of intimacy. Why you say that, Sean? Because people arrive at intimacy without knowing how to sustain it. That's why I say it. They earn trust, but they don't maintain it. They build the closeness, but they don't protect it. And when it starts to erode, they don't have the tools to rebuild it because, let's be honest, they never defined what it was in the beginning. That's real talk. You have to define what your intimacy needs to look like in order for you to succeed, both of you guys. So there was my recap of the 3 I's. There was my recap of what I felt wasn't given to you in a more tighter form. There's my summary. How about we move into my confession now? My story time. Everything I just gave you is real spit. It's true. This framework works. I know because I use it personally. I have friends that use it personally. It works. I believe every piece of it, but I owe you something more than just a framework on this particular episode. I owe you the truth about why I built it. I don't think I ever told you that. I just told you to follow it, but now I need to tell you why I built it. In the beginning, I didn't build this framework from a textbook. I built it from pain. You should know that. It's being real. Growing up, I carried something a lot of people carry, but a few are willing to admit. The feeling of being dismissed by my father. Hell, just me talking about it right now tells you the growth that I have experienced concerning this particular situation. It's the feeling, like I said, that has been of being dismissed by my father, not feeling worthy of his love, not in a dramatic made-for-TV type of situation. I'm talking about in a quiet way. The way where you learn over the years that your presence doesn't quite register the way you need it to. That your value isn't reflected back to you by the person whose reflection matters the most. And when you grow up with that, I'm going to be real with you. You take it into every relationship. You drag it into every relationship. And that's exactly what I did. It followed me. It showed up in my refusal to go deep in the intimacy phase. A wall I didn't even know was built. It was there. I would question people's loyalty, right? I would need constant reassurance of it. And it's not because they gave me a reason or anything like that. It's just how I was wired. It's because my wiring told me that love was something that people could take away at any moment. Now, I'm not trying to be on no sentimental stuff right now. What I'm trying to do is just give you the real of why some of this stuff fails. So when I began to realize I did that, I did the natural thing that some people would do. I built a system, the 3 I's. And here's the part that is hard to say. The first version of this framework wasn't built on wisdom. It was built for protection. I wanted to protect myself. I wanted to protect myself from what I felt a long time ago, which ain't had nothing to do with nobody that was involved in my life, right? The information wasn't even about evaluating someone. It was about keeping them at arm's length enough to feel safe. That's what the three eyes was before it became the framework it was. Well, that's what the information phase was before it became the information phase of today. The interaction wasn't about testing character. It was about seeing if someone would stay when I made it hard to stay. Damn, I was a stinker. I feel like the Dr. Doom laugh should go right here. Like, yeah, I used to do that. Corny. Yeah, I know. I used to do that because, like I said, I made it hard for people. I just did. I didn't have trust. It was a terrible situation. And intimacy was a thing that terrified me the most, which is why I focused more on the sexual part of intimacy more than what intimacy, the overall of intimacy and what it really is. Because in my mind, intimacy is the exact spot where my father dismissed me in my eyes. It's in that place where someone close to me, close enough to see it all, that chose to walk away. That's how I viewed it. It was the same framework, same three stages, same structure. But do you know the difference? The operator was broken. Me. I was running the right system, but from the wrong place. And the results showed it. The results showed it. I couldn't keep nothing. And I've met some amazing people, women, friends. I met some amazing people, but I couldn't keep it. Is that you? Think about that. So you asked me, well, maybe you are asking me, maybe you're not, but if you are, what changed? I'll tell you what changed. I became conscious of it. One day I woke up and decided that this wasn't going to happen anymore. It's not for me. I stopped running on autopilot. I did the work. I started tracing my patterns. I sat down, I really analyzed my actions. And hell, I'm going to be honest with you. I made a lot of phone calls where I had to give an apology. That's real, y'all. And, once I traced the patterns, when I did it, I realized that I needed to change. I realized that the tools were right, but the hand holding the tools just needed to be rebuilt, need to go a different direction. So again, I created the right system for the wrong reason at first. You need to know that. The system didn't fully work until I confronted why I needed it so badly. And I want to be precise about something right here, right now. I'm not standing here telling you that the womb is resolved, right? Like I checked the box and moved on. What I am conscious of, and this is every day, I make the choice to operate from intention instead of pain. That's the big difference. That's not a finish line, ladies and gentlemen, in case you were wondering. That's a discipline. And that distinction matters because if I told you I was healed, you would hear a man who has finished the work. But the truth is, I'm a man who chooses the work every single day. And that's exactly what I'm asking you to do. I'm not asking of you to do anything different from what I'm doing. I'm not saying do the work and not giving you what the work a job description. I'm giving you I'm giving you I'm about to say I'm giving you the damn job description. But no, that's how I feel. I'm giving you the job description. This is what you need to do. But before we discuss what you need to do, maybe you need to address where it started. Have you ever thought about that? I had to do it. You have to too. So I want you to know something. As I said, this wasn't a hallmark moment, anything like that. What I just described isn't unique to just me. Nah, it's not unique to just me. I need you to understand that my specific womb is mine, but the pattern is universal. That's exactly what you need to understand. Every single person listening to this version of what I just described, pay attention because in most cases, it started from a family origin womb. Are you ready to discuss that? Are you ready to discuss family and how it really, really started? Because it started from a family origin womb. All your wombs right now, I guarantee you can trace back to something that has actively happened a long time ago. Well, it happened a long time ago, but it's actively happening right now. Excuse me. Let me rephrase that. It's actively happening right now. And most of you don't even know it. I will give you that. But some of you know what's going on. You just choose to sweep it under the rug. You don't want to deal with it. Trust me, I've been there. I raise my hand again. I've been there. But it does nothing for you. You actually need to address this family origin wound because if you don't address the past, you're going to be stuck in mud, not moving, just running in place. And eventually you're going to get tired and the person that's dealing with you going to get tired. One thing I learned is that I didn't have a dating problem. You don't have a dating problem. So if anything is failing out here, that's not the problem. The problem is the operating system that's in you right now. It needs a reboot because it's not your fault. Stuff that's installed in you has been installed in you since a child, and we didn't have the outlets to address it, right? So let's do that now. Let me show you what happens in the information phase when family is broken, right? Some of you cannot sit in the information phase. I get that. At one point, I couldn't as well. You rush. Quality I used to do. And the reason you rush is because when you meet someone and that chemistry hits within 2 weeks, let's be honest, you're emotionally invested. You skip questions. You don't even ask them. You're just focused straight on the chemistry. You ignore the slow work of evaluation, which is a big mistake. And you tell yourself it's because the connection is different this time. No, it's not. No, it's not. Let me be the honest person here and tell you, no, it's not different this time. You're not rushing because this person is special. You're rushing because you grew up in an environment where love was inconsistent. It showed up randomly, and disappeared without warning. That was me. And you learned as a child before you had language to understand it that when love appears, you grab it fast. You hold on tight because you don't know when it's going to leave again. I can't be the only one that has experienced this. We have to be honest about these type of situations. That's not a dating problem. As I said, that's not a dating problem. That's an attachment wound, and no framework survives that unaddressed. I don't give a damn if I give you the 3 eyes. I'll write it down, give you a gold star for accomplishing it. If you do not do what you're supposed to do and address your family wounds, because that's exactly where it starts, it's going to go undressed. So let's talk about what happens when the family breaks interaction. Some of you perform beautifully in interaction, right? Because it's a performance. You handle well under pressure. You say the right things. You navigate conflict smoothly, but you're not being authentic. That's the thing. You're not being authentic. You're surviving. There's that word again. You're surviving. Said this a few episodes back. How many of you are willing to admit that you're surviving? Because in your household, conflict meant abandonment, disagreement meant punishment, showing your real reactions, to something uncomfortable meant you were too much or too sensitive. Been there, done that. Not my specific household, but it was definitely someone tied to my household that made me believe that I was too sensitive if I was expressing myself or doing too much. So what do you do naturally? You shut down. You learn to mask it. You learn to manage image under pressure instead of being genuinely yourself, authentic under pressure. And here's the danger. You will pass interaction because you just know how to perform. That's it. You know how to perform. You'll pass. You'll clear the stage. And the other person is be sitting over there thinking that you're the best thing since sliced bread. They get into your real character. This is the one. But they're not getting the one. They're getting the survival one. Because what's going to happen is when intimacy shows up, they're going to learn something about you, learn something key about you. When it's time for that armor to come off, it won't come off. So let's address what happens when family breaks intimacy. Some of you, most of you, when you're not right with interaction and you're performing, you breaking intimacy. That's exactly what happens. You do the information right. You pass interaction with flying colors genuinely, at least you think genuinely, or they think genuinely. You earn closeness. You do all the right things. And then guess what you do in the intimacy phase? You sabotage it. That's exactly what happens. You sabotage it. You pick fights when things get too comfortable. You pull away when someone gets too close. You find a flaw and magnify it until it gives you permission to leave. Let me repeat that. If you're not right, if you haven't addressed the right issues before you get into dating and you're performing in the interaction phase and you're passing the information phase, when you get to intimacy, you begin to pick fights when things get too comfortable. You pull away when someone gets too close. You find a flaw and magnify it until it gives you permission to leave, or you simply go numb. Have you experienced that? You simply go numb. You disconnect emotionally because the last time someone was this close to you in childhood, it came with pain. Hello, I just said that. Last time somebody, or at least I thought somebody was supposed to be that close to me, they dismissed me. I'm not going to say they left me because I did used to see my father. I did spend some time with him, but I still felt dismissed. It came with pain. It came with conditions, control, betrayal. We have to be real about this. I'm no doctor, but I will say that your nervous system learned that closeness is not safe. And I'm going to be honest, until you rewire that, not with a dating strategy, but with real personal reconstruction, you'll keep arriving at intimacy and destroying every bit of it. As I told you 5 minutes ago, you don't have a dating problem, you have an operating system problem. And that operating system problem was installed in childhood. Straight up. So now that I give you this, it's only right that I give you a challenge, right? It's only right that I, as the person that I am, doing the thing that I feel like I'm destined to do, give you a challenge. So here's where we are. You have the framework I've given to you over the past 4 weeks, the 3 I's. I told you how it worked. I believe that I've shown you the way. I believe that I've given you a blueprint. But I would be lying to you if I closed this dating arc and let you walk away thinking the framework is enough, because it's not. That's the reality of it. It's not. It's not enough if the person using it is still running a broken program or still running on broken programming. So I'm going to give you 5 questions. Just like I gave you the 3 during the information recap, I'm giving you 5 questions right now for the challenge. Please write these down. Please write these down. Like I said, please write these down. This is important. If you want to change your situation, write these questions down. Answer them honestly. Don't put them on social media. Don't answer them in front of anyone else. I don't give a damn if you stand in front of the mirror. Answer these questions to yourself and be authentic, transparent, and honest, all that good stuff. Vulnerable. Be that too with yourself. I'm going to give you 5 questions, not surface level reflection questions. These are the kind of questions that require you to sit in silence, as I said, and be brutally honest with you. Let's get to them. Question 1. What pattern from your family are you currently repeating in how you date? Again, don't answer these questions out loud. Write them down. Answer them. What pattern from your family are you currently repeating in how you date? Now, what pattern, not what pattern you've used, what pattern are you actively using right now? Can you name it? Can you name it? Because if you can't, that means you're not looking hard enough. Because we all go through it. Believe me. Question 2. Which of the 3 I's, which of the 3 I's do you consistently fail at? And can you trace it back to something you learned before you were 16 years old? Do you rush through information? Do you perform through interaction? Do you sabotage intimacy? And when did you first learn that you did it? Who taught you that? Who's responsible for that? Who put you in that position? Question 3. When's the last time you chose a partner based on how they made you feel instead of what they proved to you? Question 3. When's the last time you chose a partner based on how they made you feel instead of what they proved to you? Be honest. I can't repeat this no louder. Be honest, because I want you to know feelings are not evidence. Feelings are simply reactions. If your reactions were shaped by dysfunction, then guess what happened? What you feel feels like love, but it's not. It's familiarity with pain. Can we be honest here? That's exactly what it is. Question 4. Have you ever been the right person on paper? I've been the right person on paper. Did everything strategically correct in dating? That's me. And the relationship still failed? That's me. Don't make me be the only one to say I was the one. If so, did you blame the other person? Yeah, I blame the other person. Did you point the fingers? Did you do this instead of this? Or did you consider you might have been the broken operator running a good system? Question 5, the final one. If you're honest about the answers to the first 4 questions, this should be a breeze. Are you actually ready to use the framework I gave you? Are you ready to actually use the framework I gave you? Or do you have work to do first? That's an honest question. This is as honest as it gets. I'm not going to front to you. When I was writing down these 4 questions or 5 questions, it seemed like it was almost as if I was talking to my former self, actually trying to help somebody else out there. I don't know who I'm trying to help. What if this is for you, then you need to take advantage of it. For sure. If that last question hits you in the chest, good. I needed to punch you in the chest because you needed a wake-up call. Because I'm going to be real with you. The most dangerous person in the dating world isn't someone who doesn't have a strategy. It's someone who has the right strategy and isn't personally ready to execute it. That is the worst type of individual. Believe me, you. They'll use information as a wall instead of a filter. I told you that. I did that. They'll use interaction as a trap instead of a test. And they arrive at intimacy carrying baggage they haven't opened yet and wonder why the whole damn thing collapsed. Let's be real. That's exactly what happens. The most dangerous person in dating isn't the one without a system. It's the one with the right system and a broken operator running it. How do we get to the other side? Here's your bridge. I'll tell you how I get to the other side. Everything I said to you on tonight leads to one conclusion, ladies and gentlemen. The three eyes are the right tool for finding and filtering a partner. But guess what? Here's the surprise. And here's what you're going to learn next week as we open a new arc. They all sit on top of something deeper, something I haven't given you yet. And it's a reason why I'm opening this new arc. The reason is I call it the C3 model. Create, connect, contribute. The C3 model. Create, connect, contribute. That's the C3 model. And there's two versions of the C3 model. There's an individual side, there's a relational side. And together they are the foundation that the three eyes are built on. So if you're confused about the three eyes, then you definitely want to tune in to next week, because I'm about to tell you what the three eyes sit on. The two versions of the C3, like I said, one is individual, one is relational, and together they are the foundation that three eyes sit on. Let me give you a brief description of create, connect, contribute. Create means building yourself with intention. Intention, a very, very extremely great word, intention. Look that word up, follow it. Not becoming who you think the dating market wants you to be. Not performing a version of success, actually constructing an identity that chooses consciously instead of one that is assigned to you by your family, your trauma, and your environment. That's what create is. Connect means learning to attach to people from wholeness. 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 Wholeness instead of from need. Not I need somebody to complete me. This is not Jerry Maguire, but I am complete and I'm looking for someone to build with. Important. Significant, very significant. Contribute means living beyond your own survival, having something to offer the world, a relationship, your community, your family that isn't just about what you can extract from it. I hope you got that. I'm going to give you more about the C3, but that's the individual side of it. And until the work is done, the three eyes are simply just a tool sitting in the hands of someone who hasn't learned how to build yet. The relational side of the C3, on the other hand, that's what the other two people create together. That's all I can give you, but I'm not going to explain it today. I'm not going to give it to you, not yet, because I don't believe that we're ready to go there. And I don't believe that, and please believe I'm not trying to insult you by any means. Please know that. But what I'm saying is the relational, it ain't no point of talking about the relational side of this because it doesn't work until the individual side is done. But don't worry, we're going to get there. So the next arc on this podcast isn't about dating. Thank God, right? Because we didn't have 4 weeks of dating, talking about what you should do. And the only reason I had these conversations is because some people are in the dating phase and believe they're ready. So why not give them a structure if they believe they're ready? But if you are one that want to be honest with yourself, with those five questions that I've given you, then this is where this is where it starts. This is where it gets groundbreaking. The next arc isn't talking about dating. It's not about finding someone. It's about becoming someone. For sure. It's about going back to the family you came from, not to blame them, not to villainize anyone. That's not the point of why I want you to go back to the family aspect to discover what's been going on. I don't want you villainizing anyone. I want you to understand what's installed in you and decide whether to keep it or replace it, right? Bottom line is I gave you a dating framework. Now I'm going to show you why it won't save you if you're not ready to do real work. That's what it comes down to. So I know I've given you a lot of information, right? As always, I'm hoping that you can take it with you and learn as I go to these comments where people been talking about me about you don't even read the you don't even read the comments. I do read the comments. Now who is this? Jalen Rose. Y'all be killing me. People always say, you look like Jalen Rose. Jalen Rose cut his hair already, buddy. I wish I had Jalen Rose bankroll though. So yeah, I to be honest with you, I kind of knew this episode was gonna be one of these episodes where people don't have a lot of questions. And that's good, right? Because I definitely want you to pay attention. I want you to understand what's being said. I want you to hear me out. Some episodes don't require comments. They just require your ability to listen, your ability, your willingness to just move forward with what I'm telling you. Like I told you before, I'm not in a position where I'm giving you this information as if I'm healed, because I'm far from healed. In fact, I don't even believe that an ED is supposed to go at the end of healed. I believe it always supposed to have a ing, because every day we wake up, we have to make a conscious decision to stay healing. ED means it's complete, like nothing will trigger it. And we both know that's a lie, because we all can get triggered. So I want you to understand that. So as I come to a close, I want to leave you with something, right? I built the three eyes because I needed them, not because I was qualified to teach them. I was a man carrying a womb, as I told you what that womb was. And again, I wasn't telling you that for you to feel sorry for me. I'm telling you because it's real, and I'm telling you because I'm transparent. I was a man carrying a womb that I hadn't examined. So I was using the framework that I had created unconsciously for protection rather than wisdom. That's the bottom line. That's exactly what it is. If we go back to the beginning, I told you that I was going to summarize what three eyes were, but more importantly, I was going to tell you what they can't do and why they can't do it. I believe I've given you that. When you do what you're supposed to do as an individual, these three eyes are going to work and connect you with the person that you're supposed to connect with. But when you haven't done the work, when you haven't addressed your wounds, then I'm going to be honest with you, the three eyes will do nothing for you. Again, I use them to protect myself unconsciously from the one thing I wanted to be, the one thing I wanted it to be known the most. I protected myself from. I just wanted to be known and not dismissed. I wanted to be important. I wanted to be significant in someone's life. Not saying that they didn't do it, but honestly, I don't think until I addressed that situation that I didn't understand the significance that I had in someone's life, because it never was fully appreciated, because I always find a flaw in it. Just be honest, the framework didn't change. With this, I changed. You have to change. The same three stages, the same structure, as I said, but this time is driven by consciousness, not bitterness, not a wound. It's not driven by any of that. This car right now is being driven by consciousness. And I'm trying to give it the same consciousness to you so you can drive in the right direction and pick up what you've been wanting, what you've longed for, what you are destined to actually receive if you are a person that is ready for a relationship, marriage, if that's the goal, you know, friendships that last a long time. However you want to put it, this stuff applies across the board. Everything that I'm asking of you, I've done. I've told you this on many episodes. I'm not just on here just to have a mic and to say, hey, yeah, do what I tell you to do. No, that's not what this is about. I honestly want you to understand what's going on with your situation. I honestly want you to grow. I wholeheartedly want that for you. It's a lot of broken people out here. But that brokenness, excuse me, is a choice. You should know that. I want you to know now that if you begin to operate from wisdom rather than pain, then a lot of doors are going to open for you, right? I want you to know that your pain isn't really disqualifying you. It's raw material. It's all in how you view it. It's perspective, ladies and gentlemen. Your pain is raw material, but only if you become conscious of it instead of being controlled by it. I'll repeat that for you. Your pain isn't disqualifying you. It's raw material. It's raw material, but only if you become conscious of it and not controlled by it. That's as real as I can get with you, ladies and gentlemen, on the night. The dating arc is officially closed for now. What comes next is harder. Next week is harder. We're going into something next week that is so in depth. You know what? I'm not going to even say it. I'm not going to even say it. All I will leave you with is when it comes to this family arc, it starts with one question. It starts with one question. Do you know what that one question is? I'll tell you. Who told you what love was supposed to look like? And were they qualified to teach you?